I never thought one email could erase my entire future. No warning. No explanation. No chance to defend myself. Just one cold message from my medical school saying I was dismissed for something I didn't do. In that moment, my dream of becoming a doctor didn't just crack. It died. But what the school didn't know is that I wasn't ready to bury it. Not yet. Not without a fight. I still remember the exact moment my life collapsed, down to the smell of my morning coffee and the sound of my old AC unit rattling in the background. I opened my laptop, expecting another ordinary day of studying cardiology. Instead, I saw an email notification that made my stomach twist. Academic standing decision. I didn't understand why I felt suddenly cold. I clicked the email, and there it was. You are dismissed for poor academic standing. Dismissed. Just like that. No meeting. No warning. No explanation beyond a vague phrase that didn't even apply to me. I blinked, convinced I was reading it wrong. I checked my records. Everything was in order. Every evaluation. Every form. Every approval. I had written documentation proving I wasn't in any kind of academic trouble. And yet, my future had just been erased with a single sentence. The room felt too quiet. My heartbeat was the only sound, loud and painful. I didn't cry. Shock doesn't let you cry. It freezes you in place. In that moment, I realized something terrifying. My entire career, the one I sacrificed years for, now depended on proving I wasn't something they claimed I was. I sat there, staring at the screen, replaying every moment of the last year. Every night I fell asleep over my laptop. Every exam I passed. Every shift I worked. Every time I told myself, "You're going to be a doctor. Just keep going." And now the school had decided otherwise. I imagined calling my family, trying to explain something I couldn't even understand myself, telling them their child wasn't going to become a doctor after all. I couldn't breathe. I gathered every document I had and filed the first internal appeal. I wrote a detailed explanation, attached proof, outlined how the decision violated their own rules. A week later, the school responded with what might as well have been an automated message. Appeal denied. Please refer to the student handbook. No reference. No specific explanation. Just a cold, dismissive line. It felt like they didn't even read it. I tried again. Another appeal, higher up the chain, a different committee. They listened, nodded, took notes, and then denied it again with the exact same vague reasoning. The dean said one sentence before leaving the room. A sentence that broke whatever hope I had left. You can file one last appeal, but the decision is firm. Firm. Set in stone. Final. I walked out feeling like I was already a ghost in a place that once felt like home. I sat by the window of my tiny apartment, staring at the streetlights flickering outside. I kept asking myself, is this it? Is everything over? If I accepted the dismissal, I knew what it meant. No U.S. medical school would accept me ever again. A dismissal on your transcript is a death sentence in this world. Maybe I could start over somewhere else. Maybe the Caribbean. Maybe another dream. Maybe none at all. But then something inside me snapped. not in defeat, but in defiance. I whispered to myself, "No, I worked too hard for this. I'm not done." And that's when I made the decision that changed everything. I realized I couldn't win this alone. Medical schools hold all the power. Students have almost none. The appeals committees, the administrators, the policies, all of it is designed to protect the institution, not the student. If I wanted a chance, even a small one, I needed someone who understood the system better than I did. Someone they would take seriously. I needed an attorney. I spent days researching education attorneys, student defense specialists, medical dismissal lawyers. I scheduled consultations with a few firms. Each call cost money I didn't have. I used a credit card I swore I'd never touch again. During every consultation, I explained everything from the beginning. My records, the emails, the appeals, the denials, the lack of justification. Most attorneys listened carefully. Some were honest. "Your school might push back hard." One of them, though, let's call him M, leaned forward during the call and said something that gave me hope. "You have a case. A strong one. Let me help you." And for the first time in months, I didn't feel alone. Hiring him cost me $14,000. Money I didn't have. Money that felt like I was gambling my entire life. But the alternative, losing my dream forever, would cost even more. So I paid. My hands were shaking when I signed the agreement. Not from fear of the price, but from fear that even this might not be enough. When M sent the first email to my medical school, I expected a polite message. Instead, he went in like a storm. He demanded detailed justification for the dismissal. He outlined inconsistencies in their process. He listed accreditation requirements they might be violating. He formally requested documentation they never thought a student would know to ask for. And suddenly, the school replied within 3 days. The same school that ignored me for weeks. The same dean who said the decision was firm. The tone of their messages changed. They were careful, nervous, overly formal. For the first time, I realized something. They weren't invincible. They just wanted me to think they were. For the next 2 months, it was a back and forth of my attorney demanding explanations, the school dodging questions, us presenting evidence, then trying to minimize it, my attorney pushing harder, them bending slowly, reluctantly. Every time my attorney CC'd me on a message, my heart raced. Every subject line felt like a possible ending, good or bad. There were nights I couldn't sleep. Nights I paced around my room imagining the worst-case scenario. Nights I prayed I hadn't destroyed my financial future for nothing. But M kept telling me, "They know they're wrong. That's why they're stalling." And deep down, I knew he was right. 2 months after the battle began, M called me. He didn't sound nervous. He didn't sound stressed. He sounded calm. "Check your email," he said. My hand shook as I opened my inbox. A new message from the school sat at the top. I clicked it, and for a moment, the world stood completely still. "We have decided to overturn your dismissal. You are reinstated. Your academic record remains in good standing." I couldn't believe it. I read it once, twice, 5 times. Every line felt unreal. After everything, every denial, every sleepless night, every insult, every moment I told myself I was done. I had won. Not because the school suddenly cared, but because I didn't give up. Because when they tried to erase me, I refused to disappear. Walking back onto campus felt strange. People smiled politely. Some avoided eye contact. Administration acted like nothing had happened. But I remembered everything. I remembered the cold email, the dismissals, the silence, the fear. And I remembered something more important. They might own the building, but they don't own my future. What I learned the hard way. 1. Medical schools make mistakes. 2. They rarely admit it unless forced. 3. An attorney changes everything. 4. Your career is worth fighting for. 5. You are not powerless unless you choose to be. I didn't want to fight my school. I wanted to learn, to grow, to become a doctor. But sometimes the biggest battles aren't in the hospital or the exam room. They're in the places that claim to teach us. If you're going through something similar, a dismissal, unfair treatment, an impossible situation, please hear me. You're not alone. You're not powerless. And you're not done. Fight for your future. Fight for your dream. Even if it feels hopeless. Even if the system is against you. Because sometimes the difference between losing everything and getting your life back is one decision. Not to give up.